Yes, welcome everyone here to the Smash Evening Show right here on Smash FM here on a Wednesday here in Melbourne. Of course, let's go across to our friends over in the US and we'll turn our attention to music in particular. Of course, we're heading to Boston, Massachusetts, over in the east coast of the US. And of course, we've got a very special guest on the show, of course, to tell us a bit about how it's been like in the music side of things over there in the US, especially for herself in particular. Of course, she joins us right now from Boston. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Will. Such a pleasure for you guys to have me at FM. Yeah, my name is Eunike Tanzil. You guys can call me Venus. It's a weird name, but yeah, I'm in my last year of my semester at Berklee College of Music, majoring in film scoring and composition, as well as minoring in conducting. I'll be moving to LA soon. I have some gigs as well as internship in the music library company called MCAS. Yeah, and I'm just aside from being a student, I also do freelance gigs because writing for Chinese TV shows as well as feature films. So once again, thank you for this amazing opportunity.
Is why did you end up choosing Berklee College? Obviously, it's one of the most high regarded music colleges over there in the US, but why did you end up choosing it?
Yeah, there are a couple of reasons. The main reason is because of the film scoring program. Since I was in middle school, I already know that I want to do film music. I know it's a little early for some people, but since middle school, I'm already listening to John Williams. I know I was such a nerd, but that's basically it. And I began to do some research, and I realized there are so many Berklee alumni that are doing really well in the film music industry, such as Ramin Djawadi, who actually just had a um, Zoom meeting with the Berklee students yesterday actually, and a couple other Berklee graduates as well. So that's the main reason. And then the second reason is that it is in the United States, and it's always been my dream to be able to study here in the United States. Before I came to Berklee, I've never been to the United States. And then the last reason is because I got a full scholarship, thank God. Out of all the schools that I applied, Berklee have been the most generous to me and give me the most scholarships. So yeah, these are the reasons.
Now, you did mention that, of course, you're moving across to the other side of the country. So from the cold of the East Coast to the sunshine and the warm of the West Coast in Los Angeles, and obviously the home of the film and television. I guess, why did you end up making choosing to make the big move across to the other side of the country?
Yeah, it's it's such a tough decision, especially during the pandemic. I heard lots of stories from friends who were like, "Hey, there's no point of you moving there now because everything is shut down, and Los Angeles COVID cases are much worse than Boston." And however, I know that this is something that I don't really have to do, and if I didn't make this decision, I would regret it probably my whole life. Um, because I believe that you you're responsible to create your own opportunities, and you can't just rely on people discovering you. The world doesn't revolve around that, and I believe that being in Los Angeles not only gives me the exposure, but it also gives me the connection that I need, not only as musicians but also as friends as well. And I know that I can meet more directors. As a film composer, it's really important for me to reach out to directors more than anything else, more than even other musicians. And I know that Los Angeles is the center of film directing.
Obviously, with the pandemic that's currently happening in 2020, I'm assuming that's, I guess, setback. I'm assuming there was a couple of setbacks throughout the way this year. I guess, was there one thing that you wanted to do when you set yourself at the start of this year that you end up couldn't do it because of the pandemic?
Yeah, I was supposed to be one of the arrangers for a concert that Berklee was planning to do. It's the James Bond concert. We already had a couple of rehearsals with the orchestra, so it's gonna be like a band together with the orchestra. But yeah, it got canceled after like 4 rehearsals. Yeah. I was so excited for that concert and that project. However, yeah, it's totally fine. It's something that's out of our control.
Now, the question I want to ask you is, as well, I guess, what's your short and long-term goals in, composing film or TV?
Well, I have a couple of goals that I set for myself. For now, let's say in 3 or 5 years, I want to be really invested in the film industry in Los Angeles. But in the really, really long term, let's say 10 years, I really wish to be able to create my own company that, in Indonesia, especially because the music scene in Indonesia is not as big as in Los Angeles. And I think we have such an opportunity for growth in that area. So I want to create a company that can provide film music, commercials, as well as other musical, any types of production. It can be orchestral, it can be concert music, it can be musical theater as well. That's my really long-term goal.
Now, of course, you mentioned, of course, you are from Indonesia, which obviously it's more close to Australia than it is to the US.
Yeah.
So the question I want to ask you is, have you had a chance to return home during this pandemic? And I guess, is that something you want to do eventually as well, to like go between Indonesia and LA?
Yeah, I'm actually going home next week. Before moving to LA, I'm gonna fly home to Indonesia before that.
I guess I have to ask, I guess you mentioned about, you want to set up your own company as a long-term goal side of things. I guess, how important is your experience going to Berklee, and I guess to carry over to what you're hoping to maybe teach other students who wants to be in the same position as yourself?
I think that's not even an option. I think that's essential for people. I'm speaking from my own experience. Before coming to Berklee, first of all, I have no connections. Second, I have no clue how the industry actually works. It's not just all the nice things that they show you on Instagram. Oh, look at my really nice studio. No, like it's 30, like, I don't know, 50 hours a week kind of work where you don't sleep. And I experienced that at Berklee. So I already know what to expect in the actual world. Other than that, you can also be mentored by some of the great teachers who won Grammy Awards. And they work in that industry before, and then they can not only advise you, but they can also help recommend you to other composers who are looking for assistance, recommend you for jobs in LA. Like now that I am going to LA, but a couple of weeks before, I reached out to all my professors and I said, hey, do you think, someone who needs an assistant, someone who needs someone to help them with their studio work? And, I think that relationship is the most important thing that I achieved at Berklee.
The next question I asked you, obviously you mentioned that you're returning home as of next week. My next question is during what you're doing in regards to when you go to LA, is that something you want to do hopefully when you have a chance to maybe come down to Australia?
Yeah, for sure. I've been to Australia. When I was 12, I went to Brisbane. It's a family vacation, so we went to Warner Brothers theme park. Yeah, and then I also went to Blue Mountain, but it's a long time ago.
Now, uh, tell us, how did you get involved in the music slash, composing side of things, and why did you end up choosing it?
I I decided that I want to be a film composer because I always love storytelling. I love music that tells a story. If you listen to most of my stuff, either on my website or on my SoundCloud, it's never the same thing. Like even with the most minimalist kind of music, it's never copy and paste. There's always a sense of journey, and in film, it it matches. You know, there's a storytelling in films, and my music is like that too. So that's the first reason. The second reason is that um, I love technology. I embrace music technology a lot, and I really want music to act as a bridge between the audience and the screen. And I think it's a really big responsibility, as well as you not everyone is gifted to write music that can tell a story. And I feel like my music can tell a story, and I want to use this talent that God gave me um, as in the maximum potential. And I think writing for films would be what fits me best. My first gig was actually with a friend, so I wasn't the main composer. Again, like when you go to Berklee, you meet lots of people from all over the world. That's how I know this friend from China, who's now writing for big films in China. And he asked me, "Hey, do you want to come abroad? I need someone to help me with this TV show. The deadline is in 2 weeks, and we have to write an hour of music, and I couldn't do this alone. Do you want to come help me?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." So again, like when you build really good relationships with your friends, like just be really nice and be super helpful to whoever is around you at Berklee, because you never know, they're gonna give you the opportunity, maybe the first opportunity, just like what happened to me. Yeah, that's how I was getting involved in this film music industry.
Now, what would be some highlights throughout your time in composing?
It would be a feature film. It's not out yet, but it will be. It was supposed to be out last year. No, it was this year and around March, but because of the pandemic. Yeah, but that was the first feature film that I actually wrote, and we had it recorded in Bulgaria with the orchestra there. And yeah, I would say that's the biggest highlight of my career.
What does film music mean to you?
There are two ways of me, like how I feel about film music. The first way is that it teaches me a lot in patience, because when I'm working on a film music, it's not the same when I write just another composition. It's actually you're collaborating with tons of other people, music editors, especially directors. And when I'm writing for a film, I have to embrace that collaboration. I have to make sure that the things that I write um, can realize the vision of the director, right? And then that process of collaboration and keep reviving the piece, it taught me so much about patience. And another thing is that it also is a form of expression for me. And however, I feel like in film music, there's always a limit, right? For example, when you score, um, when you score, I don't know, an animation film like a Disney film, there are kind of an unspoken guideline, such as, oh, it has to be orchestral, it has to have the Disney sound. You have to give us the Disney sound, and you can't just experiment with, you know, creating your own sound, like to electronic sound design. sound design stuff, you know. So I learned through film music to be expressive, but you know, to adapt to different situations and different genres as well. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, and that definitely does. And I guess following on from that, what would be your advice to people out there that are thinking about doing something that you're doing right now, and I guess being involved in film music?
First of all, you have to really love films, because if you want to be involved in this industry, you have to know it's hard work every day, and you have to love what you're doing in order to be invested uh, in this industry. You know, you can't be half and half. You have to really know what you're getting into. That's why you have to love it first. Um, and second, I would advise everyone to embrace music technology. Like, you know, now we have Logic, Cubase, Pro Tools. Just be really good at those three DAWs, and it will help you tremendously.
We'll finish off with these last two, which is for everyone that should follow you on the socials or even on your website, and especially to watch and listen to what you do. How can I go about it?
Yeah, you guys can go to my website, www.uniketanzil.com, or you guys also can go to my Instagram or just shoot me a message on Facebook. I'll reply to you guys as well. Yeah, if you guys want to ask some tips on um how to start getting your first gig, or how, like, any questions regarding the film music industry or music technology composing, I'm happy to help.
And we'll finish off with this one last one, which is there a particular film, especially the music involved in the film, that you're inspired to not duplicate, but sort of follow the same sort of process that film music had?
Right now, I'm really obsessed with the Queen's Gambit. If you guys know, it's a really great show on Netflix. I really recommend everyone to watch it. Yeah, and actually the composer, his name is Carlos. He actually posted some tutorials on his Facebook page. I really recommend everyone to like check it out, because it's really helpful. Even me as a composer who already learned all those stuff, I still learn a lot through watching his tutorials. Yeah, I really want to write something that, not duplicate something that sounds like that, but it really inspired me to write kind of in that direction, where there is the perfect balance between electronic and orchestral. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for getting up your time to join us, especially obviously with technical difficulties that you've had back home, and especially do it in a cafe there in Boston. And
yeah,
obviously we want to wish you all the best for the 2021 year coming up, obviously when you make your move to Los Angeles, and can't wait to hear some more of your amazing film music on the films coming up in the next year, but obviously into the future. And hopefully we'll get a chance to catch up with you maybe sometime next year to see how it's all going.
mm-hmm. Thank you so much for the effort. Thank you.
No worries. And that's Eunike Tanzil there, of course, joins from Boston, Massachusetts. Of course, we'll put all the details up on how you can follow her on the website, and of course on the socials, and especially to follow her progress, especially in her film music career at the moment. Of course, we'll put all those up sometime later today. There's more on the Smash Evening Show right after this. Don't go away here on the Wednesday edition.